Because it wouldn't make any, to me, it wouldn't make any sense for the Saviors to do it because they want them to provide for them. They want to take half their stuff. If they let in walkers and stuff, that's like defeating their purpose.
Yeah, but the guy did say he was the one that set all that up.
Yeah, it very well could be.
And then the music in the car was to attract those walkers, but you said you had talked about that car not being there through him, right?
Right.
So I went back and I went back and I listened, but I didn't see or hear nothing different than what I originally had saw. So that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good debate down the line as far as where that car actually came from, that old gremlin.
Yeah, it was all chained up. The music was blaring, but those gates had to be open from the inside. So there's got to be maybe a new player we haven't met yet. But somebody had to open those gates.
Yeah, see, that's what we really need to get to the point of who did that. We know it wasn't. Yep. We know it wasn't Maggie or either one of them women, because they were both in bed when the alarm started sounding.
Yeah, exactly.
So we know it wasn't those two. So we don't know who else is in that. We don't really know any of the other characters that's in that where they're at. We don't know, except for, like I said, the doctor, Jesus and Gregory, and then Jesus. I don't think Jesus will do it because look what he just did. He went to go find Negan for him. You know. Yeah.
There's got to be a new player in there that we don't know about yet, because somebody had to let them in. And the only reason to let walkers in is to have them go after the people. Yeah. So I can't see the Saviors doing that. I don't know. That was like out there. All of a sudden, they hear this music and all this is going on. I said, wow, where did this come from?
Yeah. And another oddball thing at the beginning was with Sasha and Gregory. Gregory looked at Sasha and act like he had knew her, like she had been there, like she was part of their group, you know?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's why I said the whole process of it was kind of mind-boggling, because everything that he did kind of made you think he was a little loopy. Everything leading up to that. But in The Talking Dead, I guess he forgets people's names a lot to kind of make them feel lower. But, you know, I do that a lot, but I don't mean people to feel like that. I always mix. When I first meet somebody, I might call them somebody else, but that's not the way I see it, you know?
Yeah. So I think he does it like they don't matter, so it doesn't matter what he calls them, because they don't matter anyway.
And that's kind of what they said over there on The Walking Dead, you know, But then, if that's the case, then he's really not. He's normal. Then, you know, if that's the real case, and he kind of played along that he was still a normal guy, that he wasn't loopy. You know, nobody really brought that up in The Walking Dead, that he wasn't loopy at all. You know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But he still could be. Maybe they haven't. Not going to release that part yet. I don't know. He's another strange one.
So let me ask you this: how long do you think Maggie and Sasha and Eden are going to make it at the place there with?
At Hilltop, I think they're going to stay. I think eventually there's going to be a coup and Maggie's going to take over.
Yeah.
You're going to somehow get rid of Gregory. I think.
Okay.
After Maggie got them, he's probably afraid of him. He's probably afraid of her.
Yeah. But when Jesus was saying that, he was talking about Sasha taking over, you know, when they first had the conversation.
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird to see that. So let's go ahead and let's get over to Carl and Eden. You know, Eden takes off. Carl comes running behind her. I know you said Carl don't even like her. He must like her a little bit.
Yeah, but he wasn't totally into that kiss either.
Yeah.
She kind of made the move, and it was kind of strange because she goes out in the woods a lot by herself, and she's dealt with walkers before, and all of a sudden they have this one walker, like she's totally scared to death of it. So that was kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, so it was weird, and then Carl, they could have used that car to go pretty far. He just like runs them over, wrecks the car.
I know.
That was. Now I don't know if that was the brightest move, but thinking about it, he's been in the apocalypse this long. He's never really had a chance to learn how to drive anyway. So I guess
that's true.
I guess that's because when the apocalypse started, he was like 10 years old or something. So now now he's like 15 or 16 years old, I'm guessing. And, about 16. Never got a chance to drive. So even when it was time for drivers, they never said, "Hey, Carl, you want to drive this one?" Or you know what I mean?
Very true. Very true.
So that could have that could have been a big part of it. So we'll see what happens there, and then you have Carl jumping in it's kind of weird how it plays out that the van that's going to Negan, or the box truck that's going to Negan, Carl and Jesus, well, we know Jesus is going to end up in it because Jesus knew which, every time I say Jesus, I want to say Jesus. It's just a funny thing. Whenever I say it, I always want to say Jesus. But anyway, so I know it all plays into the TV show, and it all plays into the soap opera of it. But how in the world did they both end up in Negan's box truck? They weren't talking to each other or nothing. They weren't,
Yeah. Good question.
So they both, just by chance? A lot of things happen by chance in TWD. So.
It could well be. I would probably say it was chance, but good question.
So they're kind of both going for, Jesus is going just to find out where Negan is. And and then Carl's going to back up his dad, because his dad and Michonne and Aaron, those three took off to go find Negan or find Daryl, or who were they looking for at that point? That was at the beginning with the darts. Do you remember? They were taking off. Were they just going to find food, or what were they doing?
Oh, at the beginning? They were going to go out and hunt. They were going to go out and scavenge.
Yeah, okay.
That's what they did. Yeah.
And that's when Carl got upset and said, "This is the way it's going to be from now on?"
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't care for Rick bowing down. But see, I don't think he knows about the Morse code thing.
Yeah.
See, he doesn't know any of that. So, yeah, he's going to think his dad's buckling under. But I don't think that's the case. He is to a point, but he's kind of working behind the scenes. Rick is, I think.
Yeah, there has to be something going on, especially for Daryl. Daryl really never went in the houses, so how did he... I don't remember him seeing that Morse code. The only house he would probably go in was Rick's, so we did see that Morse code thing, but to memorize it, he must have spent some time looking at it. Because you have to kind of memorize it, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Well, Rick would know Morse code. He was a cop. I would think that he would know that, maybe. I don't know, maybe not.
Well, maybe
but
if Daryl just knew the basics, then he would be okay with that.
Yeah,
I think that's going to come back and play a big role later down the line. I think we're...
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think we're in the beginning stages of it, but I think that eventually it's going to come back and play a big, big role as far as the direction of the podcast, direction of the show goes, I don't know how this... I always say the name Soap Opera wrong. What's the guy's name? George Romero? He said that the zombie shows are turning into a soap opera, but I also heard somebody say, I love TWD. Do you watch Z Nation?
Yeah, I love Z Nation. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
I think it's funny.
That's one of my favorite shows too. And
yeah.
So George Romero, he said he made a comment, and he said that these are all soap operas now, all the Walking Dead show, all the zombie shows.
Well, they've evolved so much, but I don't know. Since he made Night of the Living Dead, I mean, that was their first introduction. I mean, they've evolved so much since then.
Yeah, he's like one of the originators. Not the originator, but one of the originators.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's a guy, they call him the Godfather of zombies.
Yeah.
So, but it's going to, see, I don't think, Carl doesn't know what's going on, and Rick's not going to tell him. Rick's not going to tell anybody about this, about the message thing.
Yeah.
But, not yet, not until he works some stuff out, I think. It's going to be a bit yet.
I think that Rick needs to find out where the compound is that they're held up at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once he finds that out, and then he groups the people together and meets King Zeke, and then he meets up with Morgan and Carol again.
Yeah,
and gets a stronger force. I think that's when they'll be able to go ahead and.
I agree. I think it's going to take all of them. Yeah, it's going to take all of them to go against Negan, I think. But I think that's going to be a while. And I want to know how Kyle is going to end up with a relation with Negan. I mean, he doesn't live there with him. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of weird, like the reason I like TWD so much is it goes off in all kinds of different directions. I don't like when they base it on just like one character like they have in the past. The Daryl one was really good because that was a mind one. But the reason that I don't like Morgan or Carol because they did it for both of them and they weren't very good. The episodes weren't very good.
You didn't think so?
The Morgan one was horrible. The one where he was with the guy with the goat. And then the Carol one, when she was alone, it was horrible too. I didn't like either one of them.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a Morgan or Carol fan, to be honest with you. Them two just drive me nuts. And I thought that they were going to be the ones getting together. And I guess Carol meets up with this King Zeke, and I guess that's what's going on with them.
We'll see. They kind of left us hanging. They kind of left us hanging with that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he had a clean shirt on, a new shirt. You know, I heard those are to come by, a zombie apocalypse. Come on.
Yeah.
So I guess and in that episode, they'll crack me up because Carol was like pilfering this stuff. It was hilarious. Yeah. You know.
Let me take you back to the beginning. Season 7, episode 1. How long did it take you to get over those feelings?
Oh, God. I'm still kind of upset about that, to tell you the truth, because it's like, they need stuff. They need Glenn, you know? That's what he did. Abraham, he was just hilarious. He picked on Eugene all the time, and he kind of missed that between the two of them. So I'm still kind of reeling from that a little bit. That was just brutal.
Yeah, Abe was my favorite character, and it's hard to. It took me a couple weeks actually to get over that episode, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
I actually didn't do the next week's podcast because